As I said, to really understand how the English language relates to the four elements, you have to practice the Golden Dawn system. That's one system really that pays attention to, whereas things like Wicca don't really, a lot of the Wiccan systems are not really aware actually that the English language has certain relationships between words that correspond to the elements and what are called magical correspondences. And it's not only enough to practice the Golden Dawn system, you really have to understand both sides of the pyramid, what is called the York Rite, and that would be you would read Duncan's Rite for that, and Scottish Rite, Freemasonry, and for that you would read Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike, and then it would help to read um, Aleister Crowley, or Crowley, sorry, uh, and also to listen to musicians because they're all using spelling basically. And what that consists of basically is that there are profound relationships between words, not only in the English language, but particularly in the English language. Some people think that the Jewish people and Kabbalah, it's all mixed up with the English royalty who are Freemasons. And they're right. So spelling would be like, if you had a word embedded in a word. Um, for example, like to know has the word now and it has no, N-O. So when you really know, you reach that silence, which is zero, right? And then other things, are relationships to colors and other things like when I'm blue, I'm down and out. Those are all yin. So blue, down, out. Yang would be in, right? It would be in, it would be red, uh, uh, and up, okay? Like the sun, okay? Like right up front, three positive directions. Um, right on, left off. And then particularly if you listen to the master spellers like Led Zeppelin, Ronnie James Dio is probably the best at it, but Jimmy Page, Robert Plant were probably maybe equal, more subtle in some ways. Dio was more subtle too in other ways. So you string these words along that are related. So you have you might string along three words that are all yin. For example, that correspond to woman, like black. And then you'll see the word lack in black, and that corresponds to less than, the less than sign. Um, you could say bless, and then that would be, it wouldn't be God bless me, it would be goddess bless. Less is less, right? And greater than is more. So the less than sign is the left side of the triangle, and the greater than or more than sign is the right side of the triangle. Okay, so it just, you can keep adding more and more dots to the picture and connect more and more, and you form a bigger and bigger picture with greater and greater detail, amplifying your thoughts, amplifying the vision that you're creating. And so when you're singing, you're hopefully getting people to imagine. You're packing the most into it. If you're only listening to something and there's no music video, well, then you got to get people to visualize. Now, if you can you can mix that with the music video, and you can, uh, pace things in such a way that when you say a certain word, you show a certain color or shape, or, correspond to directions, shapes, and then you can involve all of the elements because, um, or all of your senses, right? So, in church you have candles for sight, you have incense for your scent, you have the wine and the bread for taste, you have objects that you can touch, right? Uh, so you've got all the senses involved. Hearing, right? You have music, singing. So you get every sense involved, and you create this environment um, in the church that's conductive of um, unity. All that's done correctly. You reflect on these things, and you start seeing that everything's connected, everything's one. So these separate parts, the separate dots, the separate points, which are the separate words or ideas, are all connected, and the ideas are tied to words, labels, or tied to actual objects in the physical world. Sometimes they're not physical objects because you're talking about ideas like, for example, how do you represent love? It might be a heart. It might be some other image that you use, but it's not the actual thing. So the label is not the thing. However, by referring to labels, using words, symbols to represent those things, um, you can talk about them. And words have spaces between them, just like objects. So objects occupy their own space. There's a distance between objects, otherwise would all merge into one object. And at a certain level of meditation, they all do merge into uh, the light, let's say, that comes from the projector. Your thoughts are like the film that divide that light into separate colors and shapes on the movie screen.